Don't take my teeth.
I know you need them.
He's sick, he's got COVID.
Oh, John did?
Well, he said he feels fine, but he's got COVID.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't want to come here with a mask and all that stuff.
See if we can find 5 or 6 counties in Missouri. Everything for commissioners.
Right, yeah,
I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
yeah.
Good morning and welcome to the Berry County Board of Commissioners Committee of the Whole for September 3rd, 2024. Please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Reports from state or county officials. Are there any state or county officials with us this morning that would like to update the board? Hearing none. Limited public comment at this time. Any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes. Everybody's still on holiday, I see, so that's not a bad thing. The chair would entertain a motion for approval of the August 20th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Getty, support by Tunison for approval of the August 20th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is approved. Jennifer Heinzman. Good morning, Jennifer.
I got something real easy for you today, I think.
We like easy.
Well, I am just here because the land bank bylaws say that I need to get approval from the Board of Commissions anytime I enter into a loan agreement. And we are getting ready to enter into a loan agreement with the Community Foundation in the amount of $100,000 to purchase the former Designware building and have it torn down. But we are racing the clock on this one because of the grant funds. We have to have everything now by the 30th of September. So we are going to take out the loan. Well, we've already done this from the Community Foundation. They've already agreed to it. And then we're going to close on the 11th, tear the building down on the 12th. And have all of the reimbursements back and have everything submitted by the end of this month. I just need approval from this board to go ahead and enter into this contract because this is a county board.
Being on the Brownfield board, I know exactly what Jennifer's talking about and why we're tearing down a building and paying $100,000 for it. But can you give the other board members just a brief explanation, the Reader's Digest version of what happened?
What has happened. So we tore down the former Baby Bliss building, and once we tore it down, realized that there was a shared wall between the Baby Bliss building and Designware. So Designware is now left with 3 walls. So fast forward 6-8 months, it's been a huge drawn out process, but we've come to the point where the only solution is to tear that building down too. So we have now worked with the building owner to purchase that building so that we can just tear it all down and have the property ready for the next developer.
It's on the riverfront. It's a great piece of property. Be very developable. So developable is a word, but so we'll see. So questions for Jennifer?
No, it's an eyesore when you drive through Middleville, the way it's sitting right now, so it needs to be done.
Yeah, and we've been through this quite a bit. There's been pending legal action from the owner and just a big discrepancy on why it has the shared wall and stuff. So this is really the way to quickly expedite this, clean it up, and make it user-ready again to bring somebody else in there, so.
And I should also add, we're not going to hold on to the debt. I do have the grant that's going to pay it back, so that's why the timeline, as soon as we get the money, we'll pay the loan back.
Yeah, very short-term loan agreement, so.
And there is a developer that's waiting to purchase the property. So.
We're meeting with them next week.
Commissioner Doster.
How did you determine the value of the 100,000?
Well, that's half of what she was asking.
Oh, so you negotiated for the price?
We did, yes.
And did you, is there a tax evaluation of it, or did you have
Well, the 100,000 is 2 times the SCV.
Okay,
So, and that's what you need to pay according to the grant.
okay. Thank you.
Yep. Any further questions? Okay. Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the Berry County Land Bank to enter into a contract with Berry Community Foundation for a loan to purchase the former Designware building in Middleville, Michigan.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Hatfield, support by Getty, to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval for the Berry County Land Bank to enter into a contract with the Berry Community Foundation for a loan to purchase the former Designware building in Middleville, Michigan. Discussion. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
The motion carries.
Thank
you,
you.
Jennifer. Okay, next up, Darleve Craig Stolsonburg. Good morning, Craig.
Good morning. Apparently I'm alone this morning.
You're never alone. We're with you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. This is a request to renew our agreement with the Berry County Sheriff's Department for our policing services with the Village of Middleville. It expires this year. We have a annual review of it with a police contract committee. They identified a few things they wanted to add to it, including beef up training. The training budget was $500 a year, which the Sheriff's Department really wasn't utilizing because it's just so small, so they wanted to increase that, so they have some extra funds to train their folks, so about, $4,000 a year in that. Also asked for some provisions to be able to enforce our local ordinances a little bit easier, so those are in there as well. Asking to renew that for 5 years. Very happy with the services from the Sheriff's Department down there. Sergeant Ware is amazing. Everybody down there does a really tremendous job, and like to see that continue as long as we can.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Getty, that's your district. Any questions or comments on the contract?
No, they've been working on this for
Long
several
time.
months.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I didn't see anything substantial in there as far as changes go, other than a little price and, like I said, a few requests in there, so.
Yep.
It made sense. Additional questions from commissioners?
Is there any need to have the sheriff present this? He was on the agenda.
So he was at the police contract committee meetings also, along with Sergeant Ware, very aware of the changes. I can't speak for Sheriff Leaf, but I guess that's up to you to decide.
But it's been approved.
It's been approved by the village council already, and just waiting action from this
And by
board.
the sheriff there. It's all been through
Yes.
negotiated.
Yes.
Okay.
The sheriff has agreed to it, then you're
Yes,
saying it's
yes.
verbally?
Verbally,
it's a-
yes.
A public meeting of some sort, or?
The sheriff was not at the meeting, the council meeting when it was approved, but Sergeant Ware was, who represents us as our, basically our police chief there
Oh, okay,
in the village. So,
thank you.
It requires Dar's signature, so if he's not happy, he won't sign.
I see.
Then it'll be back.
All right.
Okay. The chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the attached agreement for law enforcement functions between the Village of Middleville and the County of Berry.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Campbell, support by Hatfield, to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the attached agreement for law enforcement functions between the Village of Middleville and the County of Berry. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Noted with one no. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Have a great day.
Eric. Good morning.
Good morning. The airport board recently advertised the contract for the previous administrator was up, manager, and they advertised for a new manager. As I understand, they had 5 applications, interviewed 3 of them, and I'm here to introduce the individual chosen, if you haven't met him yet. Gino Lucci is our manager. He has been appointed on a month-to-month basis at this point by the commission, because it's below the $5,000 requirement. At the last meeting, This contract that's in front of you today was approved by the airport board and sent to you and the city council for your concurrence.
Okay,
So-
City of Hastings has not approved it yet?
Not yet. It was just approved last Wednesday, so.
Okay.
So we're asking you to approve the new contract for Gino on a permanent basis. This would start October 2nd, I believe.
Okay. Commissioner Tunison, you are on the airport board.
Yep. Just like Eric said, Mark had mentioned that he might want to retire. He did put in for the job again, Mark Noteboom. So we went through the interview process. We put it out that people send resumes. We narrowed it down, like Eric said, from 5 to 3. We interviewed Mark Noteboom, Jeremy Bochelle, and Gino. Gino brought a lot to the table, the board felt. He's been in the airplane business stuff, selling parts and everything else, very familiar with airports. There's been a lot of good changes out there already. People are positive out there. They're wanting to spend time out there. I think he can attest to that, Gino can, just for the fuel sales, for the amount of fuel that's grown in the last 5-6 weeks. So feel that strongly that we made the right choice, and he's the man for the job. So.
Okay. And obviously, the airport commission reviewed this and voted unanimously or voted in favor
It
of
was
this
4
contract?
4-1. Well, right now, obviously, the contract, after the initial picking of Gino, our chairman wrote a letter of resignation. So I'm acting chair, but the 4 of us, yes.
Unanimously approved the contract?
Contract.
Okay. Okay, questions for Eric or Mr. Tunison or Gino?
So the procedure there, the airport board makes a recommendation then to the 2 owners, I guess, of the system, and that they actually do the hiring? Is that what you're
because-
asking for here?
The board actually did the
Does-
hiring.
Okay,
But because
Okay.
it's a contract that it's over $5,000, then both the city and the county have to approve.
ratify it,
Yeah.
or,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is.
okay.
Commissioner Colton?
So going back to Mr. Noteboom's contract, wasn't it included in his contract like 20,000 or something so that he can like sub-hire people to do
It was.
different types of work? That's not in this contract?
It's not in his contract, in Gino's contract. That is no longer in that. Language is no longer in there,
Okay, that's good.
okay?
I
There was some-
never
there
liked
was-
that.
There was a little discrepancy on that, so,
Okay,
that's why when we hired him, it's not in the contract,
that's good.
so, okay?
Perfect. Additional questions?
And by discrepancy, you mean it was difficult to track that money, or?
Well, it was deemed up to, and this might come in front of the board, Eric's looking into it right now. It was deemed in the contract to pay an assistant up to $2,000 a month. Okay, so where the discrepancy is the fact that he was not, and he was hired as the assistant, that he was not employed the whole time, the duration that the money was going out. So in other words, there's, from what he got paid versus what Mark got per month is a little, we gotta figure that out.
Okay.
So Eric's looking to that as we speak. So,
So then, Mr. Noteboom then just kept that money?
I'm gonna refer that to Eric.
That's an issue we're looking into. It was an issue the airport board asked me to look into at their last meeting and then report back to them. So we'll have more information for you in the coming weeks.
Eric is gonna go over the contract, and then if he feels that it needs to, because he thinks there's some gray area in there in a spot or two, he's gonna refer it to our attorney for the county, whether or not there is something to pursue here, so.
Over what length of time was that taking place? That,
1 year. a little over a year because it continued after the fact his contract was up. So there's a 12-month period plus a couple months on top of that.
Okay.
Because his contract was up June 1st of '24. Okay, so then we didn't really interview until August. So there's a couple months there that was still being deposited,
How much was that a month?
2,000.
2,000 a month, approximately 24,000 a year. And do you have any idea how much was actually paid to subcontractors?
I do.
Okay, you know,
I don't have an exact amount. I don't think it's appropriate that I speak on that right now until we check into this whole situation.
Okay.
Okay?
I would rather have the facts on it too
Yeah.
before we get into
Yeah.
discussion
Yeah,
on this.
that's why the airport board decided that when Eric was there, he listened to the conversation, and he knows, he got all the information from Michael. Michael's got the contract. Eric has the contract now. Eric will read through it and read the language that we put in place back when we set it up, and then he'll take it from there.
Okay.
So,
So we can expect a report back to us in a month. Hopefully quicker, but we'll see where it goes, what the attorney
our board
opinion is
meeting
as
will
well.
be, September, the last part of September, so I'm hoping that he can have something to us by then, and we can report it back to you guys.
Okay. Perfect. All right, any other comments or questions? The chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the attached Hastings City, Berry County Airport contract for airport management service between Hastings City, Berry County Airport Commission, and Lucci Distributing for a period of October 1st, 2024 through October 2nd, 2027.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Tunis and support by Hatfield to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the attached City, Berry County Airport contract for airport management service between Hastings City, Berry County Airport Commission, and Lucci Distributing for the period of October 1st, 2024 through October 2nd, 2027. Additional discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks.
We look forward to working with you. We'll hear more, I'm sure, talk to you a lot more in the future, so.
Thank you. Very excited for it.
You're good. Unless you
Next.
want to hang out and talk budget. Unless you want to talk budget with them.
Next up, proposed Berry County budget, and the goal is to continue the discussion and schedule a public hearing, so.
Mr. Chair, since the last meeting, Luella has made updates to the budget as was discussed. The contingency was, the appropriation to the public safety appropriation was all moved to contingency. The appeals were put back in that you approved, and the new positions are still in there. And consistency. So those were the major changes since the last meeting, as you approved. We are here asking if you're ready to schedule a public hearing for October 22nd and answer any more questions you may have. Well, anything on that?
Yeah, so one other thing I would, couple things that I would point out that in addition to incorporating the items that were approved under appeal, I also, given the timing of the split now with the court and the clerk's office and moving those employees from the clerk's office to the court, that's represented in here now. So you'll see that the clerk budget is reduced from what it was, and the trial court is increased. So
Okay.
this incorporates the move of those employees. And then just one other thing relating to the position request from the clerk's office that was granted on appeal. You'll see in the request column there on page 22 that the amount was $80,324. The clerk's office, I think, initially was proposing that the entire position be funded from the CPL fund does not look like there's enough incoming revenue to handle that, both positions. So, it was, the full amount projected cost of the position was put into the general fund. And talking with Cindy White after the appeals, it's her desire to have 50% of the position paid for from the CPL fund and 50% from clerk general fund budget. In part, I don't think that there's enough CPL focused time for 100% person. I think their intent was that this person would do other work for the clerk's office. So you'll see that only half of that position is budgeted in the general fund. Even at that, at the current revenue stream, eventually there might not be enough in the CPL fund to fund half of the position. We'll just have to see. Right now there's adequate fund balance that probably, at least for a few years, the 50-50 split would work. But, so just to point out those couple of changes in this document.
So we just get more people to carry guns, that's it, and we can keep that budget going, we'll be in
That
good
is
shape.
one method, yes.
Sarah, if I'm incorrect there, correct me, that you wouldn't have been looking for, the CPL position to be 100% CPL. You're asking it to do other clerk responsibilities, correct?
Yes, so it'll be split. We'll have the other deputy, and the first deputy also will be performing CPL clerk functions. Yes.
Okay, budget questions for Luella and Eric. Mr. Doster.
Well, I am curious, maybe we could have a little discussion on this human resource position that's being added to this budget, which previously we have not had up at that position, a brand new position. I'm wondering if that is one thing, whether that, I understand kind of the genesis of how of the thinking of how this position would come about. But we haven't had this position prior, and I hate to start a whole new branch of government here that might then require an assistant and a secretary and so forth. That's when we've had so little discussion on it that I recall in the last 2 years here. I think that currently a number of the department heads are basically doing the human resource position for their own employees currently. I hate to set up some sort of conflict between this new position. It'd be a very powerful position, which I don't know that we don't have a job description for or designating what they're to do with the department heads or against them, or whether there'd be a feeling of conflict. I don't know. I don't know that if human resource, if that title is what the position should be. If there's more help that's needed in the administration here, maybe it should be, finance director or some other position that wouldn't just start a whole new category of government. And whether it could be started off with a half-time position instead of a full-time position. I mean, it's quite an expensive position, and you add benefits on that and so forth. And with Eric being new to this position, maybe it'd behoove us to let him get a year of getting his feet under him and building relationships with the different department heads to see how this position or this help is needed, so that he has a good feel that he is promoting this instead of, this had to have originated from Michael's previous budget, and I'm sure that he thought that this would be a good way to help that office as a parting farewell gift. But I'm thinking that this needs to be looked at a little more thoroughly and perhaps delay it a year to see how, what the need is and the direction and what this position would be doing.
Okay, and I've talked, Mark and I talked about this a little bit. I've talked to Michael about this in detail. I've talked to Luella about this, and I've talked to Eric about this position in particular. And I agree with Mark on one part, that I'm not sure that HR is the right place. But with Eric being new in this position as well, I think that gives us, because this is for 2025, time to evaluate the needs for that position to see, is it a full-time, is it a part-time, is it a finance, where the office needs the most help. And you guys know that. I mean, when Luella and I talked, the office has taken on a lot more responsibility without any help. And as we approved an additional staff person for the clerk last year or this year, and then again approved another position this year because we didn't want to leave Sarah hanging out, that by the same token, I think it's continued to come back that the office administration needs help, and they've needed help for a while. They've been taking on more responsibility with the same amount of people. I don't even want to know how much vacation you take out of your available vacation oil, but it's not much. So there's just not time to get away. So, and having Eric on board, brand new, I kind of feel the same way, that I think we have time for them to evaluate what the needs are for the office before actually deciding, is it HR, is it finance, is it a general person that, you know, an assistant deputy or whatever the case is. I don't know that we need to make that decision today, but I think it's agreed that we need to have help in that office as it continues to grow. They're taking on payroll, they're taking on more things, so it's overdue, but it's just been put off for a long time, and the timing of it with Michael leaving, of course, I get the whole point, that Mark's point is well taken, but I've had a lot of conversations on this with Michael and Luella and the team, and I think that it's something that it just can't be ignored any longer. That Michael's opinion was always he didn't want to do anything with his office that wasn't being done for other departments throughout the county, even though some of that staffing has been taken care of, so. But I don't know if you have any other input on that as well from.
Pretty much mirrors my conversations, so.
Okay. Commissioner
Yeah,
Tennyson?
I think it goes back to what I've said from day one. We don't know, we never knew how many hats Michael wore, right? So, I mean, you know, when you're here for 30 years, it's no different than me and my business. It'd probably take 2 people to replace me, you know, because I'm leaving at 6 in the morning, getting home at 7, 8 o'clock at night. I mean, so Michael was that way. So, I mean, I can see the pressure that they're under down there. And with Eric being new and Luella, you know, we have to take a look at that we don't want to put added stress on them.
It's listed as HR, but whatever that position
Right.
is,
And I think if they
we'll
make
let
that
them determine that in the
yeah,
future, so.
Right.
It would seem to me it makes sense to go ahead and provide for it in the budget, but with future direction to come as to exactly what that position is going to entail, how it should be titled, and, you know, whether it's full-time, half-time, three-quarter time, whatever. I think we need to let them come back to us with those kinds of details. But I have no issue with at least providing for that eventuality in the budget.
Yeah, if it turns out to be another part-time person, there's no problem with having half of the money and the rest of it go into contingency. That's always a good thing. Additional questions or comments?
That was just my concern was the human resources title, and if it's not exclusionary, you know, and it's malleable, and we can, that evolves as the position needs evolve, then I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, and we're open to a title change. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna work on the job description. I guess kind of the thinking behind more HR in the office is not necessarily a director, not necessarily another department, but just to provide the backup to payroll. So I won't have to for the, you know, I won't be here forever.
That's not allowed.
There are policies in our office that haven't been looked at since, I mean, they were done in a typewriter. There are things going undone.
Yeah.
And we've been fortunate that they haven't come back to bite us yet.
And I would agree. I think that's just, if we have a budget in there and Commissioner Duster, that's an all-in cost that's in there. That's payroll plus benefits. That's in the budget. So I think if we say that, hey, this is a number, we can't exceed that, we'll come back. Luella and I will sit down with Barb and Pam and we'll see where we need to be. And we'll bring back that recommendation after their, you know, year later this year, after the first of the year, to create that position, and then we'll move forward.
For an organization this size, it's virtually unheard of not to have some type of HR specialist on staff. HR has become unbelievably complex.
Right.
It frankly scares me to death that we have policies that are that old that have not, you know, really had the scrutiny that they should have. So I think that this is a badly needed area of expertise. How we exactly structure it, I'm anxious to get a recommendation from these two, because they're the ones that really understand what the current capabilities are and where the weaknesses are that we need to fill.
Okay.
I'll tell you, with the HR side of it, as Commissioner Hatfield said, that is becoming more complex. That number in the budget, I have friends who are specialists in HR, that's what they make salary-wise. That's not even talking about benefits and everything.
Yeah.
So we're definitely not looking at a director. We're looking at somebody who can help fill those gaps that we have. And there are a few questions I've had since I've been here, and yeah, Luella's right. We don't have the people to catch everything. There are things that are missed. There's onboarding that could be done better. So that's our goal, is to get to that point.
Okay. Additional questions on the budget? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion for approval to schedule a public hearing during the regular meeting of the Berry County Board of Commissioners on October 22nd, 2024 at 9 a.m. regarding the 2025 Berry County proposed budget, and to recommend adoption of Resolution 24-22 to adopt the 2025 Berry County Budget, General Appropriations Act, and millage after holding a public hearing.
So moved. Hatfield.
Support Campbell.
Motion by Hatfield, support by Campbell, for approval to schedule a public hearing during the regular meeting of Berry County Board of Commissioners on October 22nd, 2024 at 9 a.m. regarding the 2025 Berry County proposed budget, and to recommend adoption of Resolution 24-22 to adopt the 2025 Berry County Budget, General Appropriations Act, and millage after holding a public hearing. Additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, public comment. Limited public comment. Any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes. You guys are making this way too easy on the first meeting of September. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Tunison.
Regarding the airport, I should mention that Martin Oldboom was there for 16 years, and when he first started there, Larry Baum got involved with it. Great contributor to Hastings, Berry County. They put their heads together and figured out a way to make that airport become self-sufficient. At one time, the city and the county used to budget $45,000 apiece to keep that place open. Okay, so that place is now self-sufficient. They're going to get a new terminal out there. Their airport out there is a beautiful place now, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that Martin Oldboom put a lot of time into that. So I want to recognize him for his service out there. we made a move because, you know, like everything, sometimes things become complacent and people want to look forward. And Gino was a forward thinker, and that's why we made that decision as a board. So I wanted to clarify, you know, what I think of Mark Noteboom. I mean, he did a great job out there for 16 years, so. Okay.
Commissioner Campbell?
I have nothing.
Commissioner Hatfield?
Nothing.
Commissioner Doster?
I do have a concern that I would like us to look into a little further at some point that kind of reflects from the budget and also our audit, and that is the Drain Commission. Its finances are not part of this budget other than the 3 employees there. And there is a lot of expenditures that go through that office, and that I think that we should be more accountable for in reviewing. One in particular is the amount of money that was spent on the Pine Lake project that has not gone anywhere. We've had testimony from the Drain Commission that there was an expenditure first of $400,000 and then of $300,000 that was backed off to $300,000. And those expenses were paid for, but they are not reflected in either our audit that I can see or our budget for making those go away. The Drain Commission came before us to ask that we give our good faith and credit on a loan for those funds, which we denied. But I believe that in my discussions with the Allegan County Drain Commission, who is also part of this project, that there is in fact a loan for $150,000 and at the Hastings Bank, and that is garnering interest. There's been no assessment to the people, and I'm not sure that an assessment would survive at this point because they have to prove that they've received some sort of benefit from this expenditure. And I think if there's this discrepancy of $400,000, there might be other discrepancies that we are unaware of expenditures there. And I'm thinking that maybe we would need some sort of a forensic audit of what is going on there and what our liability might be if this thing is never assessed. This loan cannot sit out there forever. And where is that funds coming from that pay that? So I think that's something that we should be aware of and try to figure out a way to investigate a little more, perhaps.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Colton?
I have nothing.
Commissioner Getty?
By way of reminder, we have an event tomorrow at the Nashville Community Garden, MSU Extension. Our own Commissioner Colton will be there talking about his participation in the community garden. I'll be there representing Blue Zones, but it's a nice event to get out and see what's being done in Nashville. So that's at 9:30 tomorrow at the Nashville Garden that's in the back behind Main Street by the baseball fields.
Fantastic. I had a garden this year, and the deer and the woodchucks loved it. It was fantastic. So, everybody ate well except me. So, But, commissioners, we are at the end of August. Mileage reports are due at the end of the month. Just a friendly reminder from the administration office to get your mileage reports in. It is September. Summer is fading. You can now hang up your Halloween decorations without being brutalized. So let's go for it. You can have your pumpkin spice. It's good.
What about Christmas?
There you go. Have a great day. Thank you. We are adjourned.